Okay, Unit 8 Key Concepts Review. Number one, how did the Treaty of Versailles and the Great Depression lead to the rise of totalitarian regimes? All right, so there's some factors that contribute to the rise of totalitarian regimes in Europe between 1929 and 1939. First is the treatment of Germany by the Treaty of Versailles. It created a sense of hatred, a desire for revenge in Germany. The treaty had wrecked Germany physically, it humiliated Germany, and encircled Germany territorially, and this greatly offended the popular sentiments in Germany, which Hitler will use these emotional feelings inside of Germany to establish his dictatorship in Germany. Second, the Treaty of Versailles also disappointed Italy, who had fought on the side of the victors but did not gain what was promised them, okay? And after the war, Italy is facing poverty, discontent, disorder at home. So even though the Italian leaders felt they contributed to winning the war, they felt they lost the peace. So the Italians are looking for somebody that can help them achieve their national ambitions. And they'll find this in Benito Mussolini, and he'll establish his totalitarian rule in Italy. Another thing that's going to contribute to the rise of dictatorship will be the American and other European powers attempts to curb the growing power of Japan by imposing restrictions on Japan's navy and limiting their ambitions in China. So Japan, the military leaders in Japan is going to discredit the democratic government in Japan and establish totalitarian regime there. So you have the Treaty of Versailles affecting Italy and Germany. You have the Allies after the war, their treatment of Japan, leading to totalitarian rule in Japan, and in fourth, the totalitarian regime in Russia. The communists had overthrown or taken over Russia in 1917. They've established a communist dictatorship, and they're looking to spread communism throughout the world and crush all the anti-revolutionary forces outside of the USSR. All right, so we have four totalitarian regions or nations rising at this time. And some of the other things that are going to contribute to it is the democratic governments established after the First World War are going to be, they're going to fail insofar as they attempt to try and solve the social, economic, and political problems facing their countries in the post-war period. So their failure is going to be exploited by these dictatorships. The economic depression of 1929 that starts in 1929 is going to cause enormous hardship and suffering to the people and give rise to a spirit of frustration, despondency, and despair among the people and nations of Europe, which will allow them to be allured, taken in by the promises of these dictators. Okay, so the emotional distress of the Great Depression and the failures of the democratic nations after the war are going to give rise to these totalitarian regimes. Number two is how did radio, movies, newspapers, magazines promote challenges to traditional values? Well, we have initially, anyway, the popular culture of this time is going to reflect the prosperity of the 20s. And we'll have mass media and communications create this popular culture, right? When we talk about radio, newspapers, and magazines being mass media, they reach the masses, so they're going to help contribute to creating this popular and American culture. They're also going to help challenge traditional authority. We have radios broadcasting jazz and fireside chats, reaching all these tons and tons of Americans. Movies providing escapes from Depression-era realities. The newspapers and magazines are going to shape cultural norms and spark fads. All right, and again, through their reaching of all these people and becoming popular means of media, they're going to help challenge traditional values by making everyone aware of things like Darwin's theory of evolution and the challenge in the Scopes trial. They're going to highlight the flappers and their challenges to traditional roles of women. They're going to be broadcasting and discussing the 19th Amendment and women's right to vote. They're going to be talking about and letting people know about the rise of the Ku Klux Klan and the sentiments that they're putting forward. And they're going to also be letting us know about alcohol abuse and smuggling and speakeasies during Prohibition. So more and more people are going to be aware of all these challenges and accepting of these challenges because they're being reached by mass media. All right, that's 1 and 2. I'll come back with 3 and 4 and 5 in a minute.